Hey y'all, what is going on? What is going on? It's your girl, Melba Pearson, Melba from Miami, Melba for Justice, the resident legal diva, and it is time for another Mondays with Melba. So it is still Women's History Month. We are still doing our series around our Black female judges here in Miami-Dade County that are running for elected office to retain their seats as judges. We know that the hearings for Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson has begun. So this is going to be a super historic and pivotal week. So definitely stay tuned, and I'll be dropping some commentary here and there on that. But today it is about Judge Miesha Darrough, who is one of our amazing sisters running for office this year. So Miesha, welcome to Mondays with Melba.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So let's start off with a little bit about you. So can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what your background is, you know, where you worked before, where you grew up, that sort of thing, so they can kind of get to know your history a little bit?
Okay, of course. Yeah. Again, thank you for having me. This is really an awesome opportunity. So I'm glad you invited me. So I actually was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, even though I've never lived there. My mother was in a town nearby for her mother's funeral, and that was the closest hospital. So I was born there. Shortly after I was born, maybe a year or two after I was born, I actually went to Chicago, and I lived with my aunt because my mother joined the United States Army. And so while she traveled, I stayed there. And then I moved to Louisiana, Fort Polk, which is a military base out there, which is where I grew up. In Fort Polk, the Leesville area. After graduating from high school, I went to Washington, D.C., and I attended Howard University, undergrad and law school. After graduating law school, I took a chance and said I would come down to Miami for 3 years to work at the Miami State Attorney's Office because they had this amazing, training program for if you wanted to become a trial attorney, great opportunity. So I said I would come here and do that for 3 years and then head back. So 15 years later, and I'm still here. But it's because it's been a great ride for me here, great experience at the State Attorney's Office. I worked in every unit, county court, went to felonies. I was a division chief for a number of years. So did, hundreds of cases, tried multiple homicides and supervised attorneys. And then I worked in the public corruption unit before I left. After that, I went to the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Miami. Interesting, because I thought I was going to end up going back to D.C. if I wanted to work for the U.S. Attorney's Office, but I actually got in here. And I worked in the appellate division, major crimes, economic crimes. And then my last stint was a special counsel to the U.S. attorney. And shortly after that, I put in to become a judge, and here I am.
And here you are. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Right.
So could you walk people through what made you want to be a judge? Like, what made you want to leave being a prosecutor, being in the courtroom all the time, trying cases, and be the one making rulings and making decisions?
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. As a child, I would say, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a judge. And that started from life experiences that I was witnessing and being a part of. I felt like, I would see people that I felt were being treated wrong, or they weren't getting a fair chance or opportunities, or I felt like there should be some type of law that should protect these individual or this person from something, but I didn't know what it was. And I felt helpless a lot of times because I didn't know what to do or how to help people, even as a child. So I grew up thinking if I knew the law, how it applied, that I would be able to help so many people. So that was always in the back of my mind. So it's interesting, as I got to law school, I knew I wanted to go to law school. I didn't know lawyers or judges or anything like that. So first generation, but I didn't know what I wanted to do in law school. Funny enough, after my first year, the only thing I was certain about is I did not want to do criminal law. Thought it was interesting, thought it was exciting, but yeah, that's probably not for me, funny enough. And it was during my third year, my criminal procedure professor, who was a U.S. District Court judge in Maryland, actually is who changed my mind and opened up my eyes to the world of criminal law, which is why I decided to try the U.S. Attorney, the state attorney's office to get the experience. And so when I got there, I ended up staying because I found my niche. Like, I saw where there was a need, and I saw where someone like me could make a difference and could provide representation. Because, I would always tell people I had just as many victims that looked like me as I did defendants. So, it's important for them to come in there and feel like a prosecutor is going to fight for my family member. A prosecutor cares that despite the life my family member lived, she's going to fight to try to get justice for our family. And so that was important. And so, gaining this experience through the state attorney's office, the U.S. attorney's office, and then having, as a child, always having those thought about being able to use the law, I knew I wanted to become a judge. I just didn't know when or where, because I didn't know if there was opportunity for somebody like me to be a judge here in Miami. And so, thanks to, some great mentors like Judge Darren Gales and Tanya Brinkley, I applied, and, the rest is history. And so, it's been a great ride.
So tell everybody a little bit about where you are now. So where are you sitting as a judge? What kinds of cases do you hear? And sort of like, what's your average day like?
Okay. So I currently sit at the Dade County Courthouse, which is the courthouse that's downtown near the government center. It's also near what's known as the Lawson building, which is where they have a lot of family cases at. So right there in that little area. So I deal with county court is disputes that are less than 30,000. So a lot of contract disputes. So I always tell people, if you get work done on your house and it's not good, or they don't finish the work and you sue them, chances are you're going to be in county court. Or, if you get into an accident and the other side will not pay, you're not going through your insurance, you're going to probably end up in county court. Deal with a lot of landlord-tenant issues, especially during the pandemic, small claims. So you see a lot of consumer debt. So a lot of debt collections for credit cards, loans, car repossessions, and, personal injury protection type of cases as well. And so it's like a variety within those groups. Day to day, each day can be different. But, you start off in the morning with cases, unlike criminal, which is funny enough, I was thinking about, I have hearings all day long. Whereas in criminal, I remember having hearings mainly during the morning time, and then special set hearings would be in the afternoon. Now it's, hearings all day except for my trial week. So this week I'm covering trial this week. So I'll be in trial all this week, which means, I won't be able to do other hearings. On other weeks, hearings all day, basically. Yeah. And a lot of bench trials too. Yeah.
And how have you found the experience so far? I know it was kind of weird because you took the bench in the middle of the pandemic. So it wasn't that normal sort of onboarding process of getting to know your coworkers and, figuring out who you can ask, what for, and some advice and stuff like that. So how have you been able to deal with that experience?
Yeah. So it's funny. I was actually in judicial college the week this coronavirus started to really ramp up. And so we literally finished on a Friday. And when we came to work on that Monday, it was basically, okay, everyone go home. We're working remotely. And, my background was all criminal. And so as a judge, I've been only a civil court judge. And so I was just starting out, have been in court a few times and handled some cases, but, not the full extent of what was to come. So we literally went home, and maybe for a few weeks, you were on the phone trying to figure things out, trying to deal with what hearings you can. But shortly thereafter, for civil county, we were up and running as soon as the district had Zoom ready for the judges to use. So we never missed a beat. So I learned definitely on the job. Fortunately, I had a lot of good attorneys that came before me. Like I started off in the North Dade Courthouse, which is the 155 in Aventura. So I started out there, and then during the pandemic, I moved to the downtown courthouse. But a lot of seasoned attorneys, were able to still deal with their cases during the pandemic. And so, I learned from doing the hearings, from asking the questions and saying, what case are you relying on? What statute are you relying on? And reading it and learning to apply it. And so it's just kind of like, I felt like just one day, all of a sudden I realized, hey, I know the answer to the questions, or I know what argument I'm looking for. And, so it kind of like, it was an adjustment, but I think it was good too, because it's all I knew, because I wasn't a judge prior to the pandemic. So when people say, well, how has it changed? I don't know. This is all I know now. Yeah.
But that is the best feeling, though, when you're like, oh, wait, I know the answer.
Right. I know what argument you should be making. You're not making it, but I know what you should be making, though. But yeah, so I'll be like, whoo, yeah, one for Miesha. Yeah.
Nice. So can you share a little bit about how you serve the community off the bench? So what organizations are you involved with? You and I have been in a bunch of them together, but I'm not going to tell the answer. I'm going to let you tell it. But yeah, if you can share sort of the different causes that are important to your heart and what you like to do in your free time when it comes to
right. So it's interesting because I feel like I have the organizations that are legally related and then the organizations that are non-legal in order to keep myself balanced. But one thing I will say in talking about organizations I am in or things I'm involved in, as a county court judge, I was appointed by our chief judge to the Miami-Dade Canvassing Board, which I do think is a very important service. And so, as a member of the canvassing board, we work on preparing for elections in Dade County. So, doing the checks and procedures that are necessarily in order to get an election going here in Dade County. And then, checking mail-in ballots or checking for signature matches, that kind of thing. And then certifying the elections once the elections are over. So, that's been a really eye-opening learning experience that I think is really great. And I would definitely encourage more people to look into the canvassing board and actually view it online or actually attend when the board is canvassing when the elections are coming up. Okay, but now for organizations in the community, well, the first one, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, because it's because of you that I became involved in it, the Embrace Girls Foundation, which is funny because I still remember us sitting in my office, and I think you were messing with me about pinkies and teas because I'm an AKA. And you started talking about Embrace and the teas. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds like something I may be interested in. And you invited me to come to an event. And I still remember it was TD Bank event. Like they were having investment, like they were giving the girls piggy banks and putting money and how to save and invest. I still remember that. And that's how it started, my involvement in Embrace. But, very passionate about it. I love it to death. I've seen girls come and grow up, come back and be mentors. It's funny because I got involved in it too, because I had just became a division chief, and we were now on the same floor when I became a division chief. And so because I was going to be doing exclusively homicide cases, death penalty type cases, I felt like I needed to be, because I was only going to be here for 3 years. So now I'm going past my 3 years. So I was like, I have to get more involved in the community. I need to know what's going on. I need to meet more people in order to be able to, I felt, effectively do my job and to really understand what was going on in our community. So love that. I'm also, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I became a member in 2001 at Howard University, so the Alpha chapter. Here in Miami, I'm part of the Gamma Zeta Omega chapter. I'm also a member of the Dade County chapter of the Lynx here in Miami. I sit on the board for OIC South Florida, and I work with the Miami Rescue Mission. So I feel like those are the types of organizations that I deal with that keep me really grounded in the community, that keeps me aware of what's going on. Yeah.
And what is OIC?
Okay, so OIC South Florida, it's a organization that helps returning citizens when they're coming out of jail or prison. It works with them to give them the resources and skills and training that they need in order to get meaningful jobs that paid meaningful wages, with the idea that if you can provide for yourself and your family, then whatever led you to going into to jail or prison, hopefully you won't repeat those actions or travel down that path. So it's a really great organization that really has worked with a number of people in South Florida to help them really get meaningful, because it's just empowering when a person has their own job, can make their own money, take care of their own family. It's empowering. And so it's been a great, and I've been on it now for almost 10 years. So it's been a lot of growth, and it's been a really great organization to be a part of.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And also share a little bit about the Miami Rescue Mission and what their mission is.
All right. So Miami Rescue Mission, we the group I work with is called Cover Girls, and so what we do is like we cover women and children who have been victims or trying to escape, domestic type of situations, or they are homeless, and so we work to like raise funds and put on programs, and provide experiences for them as well, to help empower them and get them jobs and help them to be able to stand on their own, 2 feet, that kind of thing. And so it's a very great program. And also too, there's other branches of it that, help to feed the homeless, provide shelter for women and children. And it's based here in Miami. And there's also one in Broward as well. So trying to cover South Florida.
So basically, you spend all day on the bench, dealing with the public and, hearing people's concerns. And then when you get off work, you're basically, again, back in the community dealing with people's concerns on a different level. So that's pretty dope. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. I find it necessary, though, because as I have advanced in my career, I feel like people have watched me. They've grown with me. And so, they want to be a part of the journey, even the organizations I'm involved in, they want to be a part of that journey. And so, as much as I can, I try to give, try to be there and provide what I can, but I know I'm human. So sometimes I have to say no.
Right. That hashtag self-care thing is real, right?
Yes. I'm learning that. I am learning, and I want to learn it before something happens. So yeah.
That part.
Yes.
So, okay. So listen, folks, this is that time of the show, right? Where I remind folks that campaigns aren't free. Miesha, can you share with folks your website so that people can learn more about you and donate if they're so inclined?
Yes. My campaign website is www.keepjudgedarrough. So keepjudge, my last name.com.
Awesome. So just for everybody watching, it's going to be in the comments for YouTube, as well as Twitter and Facebook. LinkedIn is going to be in the comments as well. Listen, if you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing, if you want to learn more, definitely check her out. Just know that she's going to be on the ballot this August, right? So that's when our judges are on, is in August, not November. If you show up in November, you would have missed it, okay? So this is August. It is a nonpartisan race, which means anybody from any party, as long as you are a registered voter in Miami-Dade County, can vote in a judicial election, right? And so since it's a nonpartisan race, the judges can't talk about what party they belong to, and they certainly can't talk about how they will rule in future cases. That's why it's really important to get to know the background of the judges, so you can kind of see a little bit about the personality, see what is important to them, and you can make your decisions there as to whether or not this person is aligned with your values. So that's the kind of the way we have to go about it. But just reminding folks again, elections aren't free. It is hard for candidates, especially if they've done a life of public service. It is hard for them because they don't necessarily have a rich uncle, a rich auntie, somebody that's going to drop $100,000 in their bank account, right? Like, this is normal, everyday people trying to do right by the community. So any little bit that you can give is going to be super helpful in terms of getting signs out there, mailers, all those sorts of things that you need to do to have a successful campaign. So this is me asking. So, y'all, chip in if you can. No amount is too small, and the maximum is 1,000. So yeah, there you have it. And anything else you want to share with the lovely folks who are watching Mondays with Melba?
Listen, thank you for having me. I really enjoy when I'm given an opportunity or a platform to really reach out to people in the community to allow them to know more about me. And so anybody want me to come speak somewhere or be involved in something, participate, please let me know. I'm very open, very accessible, and want to do my part. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on Mondays with Melba and sharing your story and shining your light. Everybody, again, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, definitely learn more about her and contribute if you can. But more importantly, share, like, comment, spread the word. Don't keep it a secret. All right, y'all, we're going to be featuring one more judge next Monday, so tune in for that. Everyone, take good care and stay safe. And see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.